Know where she is right now. We just need her home. Like, I don't know if she's stuck somewhere. I don't know if she's trapped. I don't know if she's eating or she's drinking.
It's okay. It's okay.
I just need my home.
It's okay.
I'll be right back. For simple words that would haunt a family forever. On a cold January evening, 16-year-old Jolie Moussa glanced at her phone, her expression shifting subtly as she read the incoming message. Her identical twin sister Jholie noticed nothing unusual as they styled each other's hair in their Alexandria home. The twins had never spent more than 24 hours apart in their entire lives. But something about that text message changed everything in an instant. Without explanation, Jolie slipped on her coat and walked out the front door. No overnight bag, no extra clothes, no warning that she was walking into danger. The door closed behind her with a soft click that would echo through her family's nightmares for years to come. Jolie Moussa stepped into the gathering darkness of that winter evening, leaving behind everything she loved, everyone who loved her, and she would never return home alive. Born on March 21st, 2001, Jolie and Jholie Moussa entered the world together, mirror images with an unbreakable connection. Their mother, Sarita Stewart-Hill, often marveled at how the girls seemed to communicate without words, finishing each other's sentences and feeling each other's pain. Throughout childhood, they were rarely seen apart, two bright stars orbiting each other in perfect harmony. At Mount Vernon High School, where Jolie was a sophomore, teachers sometimes mixed them up, but friends knew the subtle differences. Jolie was the more outgoing one with a radiant smile that lit up rooms. She protected Jholie fiercely, and Jholie did the same for her. They shared clothes, secrets, and dreams for the future. Having a twin is like having a piece of your soul walking outside your body. Jholie would later say, neither girl had ever imagined a world without the other in it. Friday, January 12th, 2018 began like any ordinary day. The twins attended school, laughed with friends, and returned home together. Their father, Cyril Moussa, was working late that evening. As dusk settled over Alexandria, Virginia, the girls were doing their hair in Jolie's bedroom, music playing softly in the background. Jolie kept checking her phone, typing responses to someone Jholie didn't ask about. Around 7:30 that evening, one particular message changed everything. Jolie's demeanor shifted, subtle enough that Jholie didn't worry immediately, but noticeable in retrospect. I need to step out for a bit, Jolie said casually, setting down her hairbrush. She didn't take her purse, just her phone and house keys. No makeup touch-up, no change of clothes. Whatever was pulling her away seemed temporary, unimportant. Jholie watched her sister walk down the driveway, expecting her return within minutes. Have you ever had that gut feeling when something wasn't right? That instinct that screams danger? What would you do if someone you loved walked out the door and something felt wrong? Stay with me as we uncover the warning signs everyone missed and the text messages that led to tragedy. Hours passed with no word from Jolie. As midnight approached, Jholie's phone lit up with a text from her sister's number. I'm going to Norfolk for a party. I'll be back tomorrow. The message sent chills down Jhonie's spine. Norfolk was over 200 miles away.
She says, I have to go. I will be back real quick. When she leaves, we don't hear from her in an hour. We keep texting her. We blow up her phone. We keep texting her. Remind you, this is not like her.
Why do you not think she's just somewhere where she doesn't want to be found?
It's just not normal. You know, a part of me wants to say, oh yeah, well, she's just acting like a teenager, but this isn't her. This isn't her MO. This isn't how she acts, so I can't help but worry. We communicate all the time, like all the time. So the fact that I haven't heard anything from my child, that's not normal. That's not normal at all.
And Jolie had no transportation, no overnight bag, no plan she'd mentioned. This wasn't like her at all. That same night, Jolie's mother received a missed call from her daughter's phone. When she tried calling back, there was no answer. By morning, panic had set in. Calls went straight to voicemail. Social media accounts remained silent. The family reported her missing, but authorities initially classified Jolie as a runaway. A critical mistake that would cost precious time in the search for a girl who never intended to leave at all. Jolie Deborah Renee Moussa was born in spring of 2001, a beautiful baby with bright eyes that seemed to take in everything around her. From her earliest days, those who knew her described a child with an infectious laugh and boundless energy. As she grew, Jolie developed into a young woman with a magnetic personality that drew people to her. Friends described her as fiercely loyal, the first to offer help when someone was struggling. Her smile became her signature, wide and genuine, lighting up her entire face. Jolie approached life with a rare combination of confidence and compassion. She was known for standing up for others, particularly those who couldn't stand up for themselves. She never met a stranger, her mother would later say, just friends she hadn't made yet. This openness and warmth made her beloved in her Alexandria community, where neighbors watched her grow from a curious child into a promising young woman. At Mount Vernon High School, Jolie excelled academically while nurturing her creative passions. She filled notebooks with stories and song lyrics, experimenting with different genres and finding her voice through words. Music flowed through her life. She sang beautifully and dreamed of someday recording her own songs. Teachers noted her thoughtful contributions to class discussions and her ability to see connections others missed. Despite the social pressures of high school, Jolie maintained a strong academic record. She balanced her studies with her artistic pursuits.
We communicate all the time, like all the time. So the fact that I haven't heard anything from my child, that's not normal. That's not normal at all.
Whoever has her, you are not in trouble either. No trouble whatsoever. You can drop her off wherever. It doesn't matter. Drop her off and let her walk if you have to. We are not worried about you. We are worried about Jolie, so we need her home. And Jolie, if you see this, you are not in trouble.
We love you, baby. We just want you home, baby.
Jolie lived primarily with her father, but remained close to her mother, speaking with her almost daily. 3 step-siblings, grandparents, aunts, uncles, and numerous cousins completed the family circle that surrounded her with love. Family gatherings were loud, joyful affairs, where Jolie often took center stage, entertaining everyone with stories or impromptu performances. She was particularly close to her grandmother, who taught her to cook traditional family recipes and shared wisdom about navigating life's challenges. At home, Jolie was known for her helpfulness, doing dishes without being asked, helping younger cousins with homework, or simply sitting with family members who needed someone to talk to. Her capacity for empathy made her a cornerstone of family support. Being Janae's twin wasn't just a biological fact for Jolie. It was central to her identity. The sisters often described themselves as one soul in 2 bodies, understanding each other in ways no one else could. They developed their own language as toddlers and maintained a near telepathic connection throughout their lives. When one was hurting, the other felt it instinctively. Though identical in appearance, they complemented each other in personality. Where Janae was sometimes reserved, Jolie was outgoing. When Jolie doubted herself, Janae provided unwavering confidence. Their bond transcended typical sibling relationships, creating a foundation of security that made both girls feel invincible, until they were suddenly, tragically separated.
Why do you not think she's just somewhere where she doesn't want to be found?
It's just not normal. You know, a part of me wants to say, oh yeah, well, she's just acting like a teenager, but this isn't her. This isn't her MO. This isn't how she acts, so I can't help but worry.
We don't know where she is right now. We just need her home. Like, I don't know if she's stuck somewhere. I don't know if she's trapped. I don't know if she's eating or she's drinking.
It's okay. It's okay.
I just need her home.
It's okay.
Fairfax County Police have not put out a missing persons alert because they tell me Jolie is classified as a runaway since she left on her own. But they say they are looking at every lead and trying to find her.
Nabiyu Ibrahim entered Jolie's life during her freshman year at Mount Vernon High School. 17 years old and charismatic, he initially presented himself as attentive and caring. Friends remembered how he would wait for Jolie after classes, carrying her books and showering her with compliments. The relationship progressed quickly, with Ibrahim soon becoming a fixture in Jolie's daily routine.
It is day 5 and my sister is still missing. Since Friday 12th, she's been missing and she still is missing in day 5. Okay? I need my sister home. So Jolie, if you see this recording, I need you to come home. You are not in trouble in any way. And whatever it is with you, we love you regardless. Just come home. Just come home. Come on. Come on.
It's okay. Go ahead. Keep on going. Let them know.
And whoever has her, you are not in trouble either. No trouble whatsoever. You can drop her off wherever. It doesn't matter. Drop her off and let her walk if you have to. We are not worried about you. We are worried about Jolie. So we need her home. And Jolie, if you see this, you are not in trouble.
We love you, baby. We just want you home, baby.
Need you home.
Hi, my name is Jholie. This is day 6 and I've never been away from my sister this long. Okay? And I just want you guys to understand that she's my twin sister, that we came out of the womb together, and that it's been 6 days and I still haven't seen my sister or any sign of her. So, today I want to speak to the kids though, but I don't mean like little kids, I mean people my age. 16, 18, doesn't matter. Anywhere around that, even 20, even around that, this generation. I need you to understand that this is our world. That my sister is just like you all, and that she needs you. She needs all of you. Please help my sister. Please help find my sister.
What began as teenage romance, however, gradually revealed darker undertones. Ibrahim's attentiveness morphed into constant monitoring. His jealousy, initially misinterpreted as devotion, became increasingly suffocating. Behind his charming public persona lurked a young man with dangerous impulses and a growing obsession with control. The first physical incident occurred approximately 6 months into their relationship. What Jolie initially dismissed as just an argument that got out of hand was actually the beginning of an escalating pattern. By the summer before her sophomore year, Jolie had experienced multiple episodes of physical intimidation, with Ibrahim grabbing her arms hard enough to leave bruises, pushing her against walls, and monitoring her communications with friends. In October of 2017, after an incident where Ibrahim cornered Jolie in an empty classroom and threatened her, she finally confided in her mother. Sirita immediately took action, accompanying her daughter to file a police report. The resulting protective order legally required Ibrahim to maintain distance from Jolie and cease all contact. Court documents revealed the judge's stern warning to Ibrahim about the consequences of violating this order. Despite legal intervention, Ibrahim continued to find ways to contact Jolie. He created fake social media accounts to message her, enlisted friends to relay messages, and occasionally appeared in places he knew she would be. Each violation chipped away at Jolie's sense of security. Though she reported some incidents, others she kept to herself, increasingly trapped in a cycle of fear and isolation that is all too common in abusive relationships.
There are a lot of questions for police tonight, who first told us that Jolie was a runaway and she was not in any danger. We now know that she was in danger. They are treating this as a homicide case. Fairfax County Police say officers were in Woodlawn Park this morning doing a second search of the park. Some kind of investigative lead brought them here. They didn't find anything the first time. That search, we're told, happened in the immediate days after Jolie was reported missing. This morning, under leaves and debris, officers found what they believe to be Moussa's body. The medical examiner will make the official determination, but a distinctive tattoo is what's behind their preliminary identification.
Fairfax County police officers were out here this morning conducting a search in the park for a second time, hoping to find Jolie alive. Just around 11 o'clock this morning, one of our officers discovered what appears to be her body covered by leaves and debris.
Now, from the beginning, this case prompted tough questions to police who, in the first few days after Jolie's disappearance, did little publicly to get the word out about her. They did share her photo on Twitter 2 days after she was reported missing. But at the time, they told reporters Jolie left on her own and she was deemed a runaway. They also said they didn't think she was in any danger. Jolie's family took issue with that distinction, considering they say she was in communication with a male before her disappearance. She didn't take a phone charger or any extra clothes. Tonight, I asked police if they downplayed those concerns and if they took this investigation seriously enough. Here's their response.
Detectives began doing interviews with the family and began their rounds of interviews with friends as well. In some cases, those friends cooperated with the investigation. In other cases, they did not. So there has been an intense amount of work done by our detectives, and that work will continue as we are working the scene tonight and will throughout the weekend and until this apparent homicide is closed.
Her once vibrant personality dimming under the shadow of persistent fear. Could you recognize the warning signs of a dangerous relationship? Would you know when control becomes abuse? Have you ever ignored red flags in your own relationships? As we continue Jolie's story, I want you to consider, what would you do if someone you loved was trapped in a relationship they couldn't escape? By dawn on January 13th, 2018, the Moussa family had mobilized. Jholie repeatedly called her sister's phone, which eventually stopped ringing altogether. Cyril drove through neighborhoods where Jolie had friends, while Sirita contacted everyone in her daughter's social circle. No one had seen her. No one knew of plans to travel to Norfolk. The mysterious text message about a party made less sense with each passing hour. The family gathered at Cyril's home, creating a makeshift command center. Aunts and uncles printed flyers with Jolie's photo and description. 5'2", 120 pounds, last seen wearing a black coat with a fur-trimmed hood, plaid pajama pants, and UGG boots. Cousins scoured social media for clues, while grandparents fielded calls from concerned neighbors. The family's growing fear was palpable. Jholie, devastated by her twin's absence, described feeling physically ill, as if part of herself had been torn away. When the family reported Jolie missing to the Fairfax County Police Department, they were met with a response that would haunt them. She's probably just a runaway. Teenagers do this all the time. Despite the family's insistence that this behavior was completely out of character, that Jolie had never disappeared before, that she had left without any belongings, that the text message seemed suspicious, officers classified her as a voluntary runaway. This classification had devastating consequences for the investigation. No Amber Alert was issued. No immediate search was organized. No urgent bulletins were sent to neighboring jurisdictions. The critical first 48 hours of her disappearance, when finding missing persons is most likely, passed with minimal official action. Officers suggested waiting for Jolie to cool off and come home, even as her family insisted something was terribly wrong. The runaway designation created a bureaucratic barrier that would delay crucial investigative steps for days. Refusing to accept the runaway narrative, Jolie's family launched their own investigation. Sirita took time off work, coordinating search parties that combed parks, shopping centers, and neighborhoods. Cyril visited Jolie's school, speaking with teachers and students, gathering any information that might help. The family created a Facebook page, Find Jolie Moussa. That quickly gained thousands of followers. Local news stations began covering the story after Sirita's passionate pleas during impromptu press conferences outside police headquarters. My daughter did not run away, Sirita told reporters on day 3, her voice breaking. Something has happened to her, and every minute we waste pretending otherwise puts her in more danger. The family's persistence began shifting public perception. Community members joined searches, businesses displayed flyers, and local politicians started asking questions about the police response. The family's advocacy highlighted a troubling pattern. Missing black and brown teenagers were often prematurely labeled as runaways, receiving less urgent attention than their white counterparts.
Radio, I can't shake this feeling. Music plays my soul.
On January 16th, for days after Jolie's disappearance, the FBI finally joined the investigation. The federal involvement brought additional resources and a shift in approach. Agents interviewed Jolie's friends again, this time with different questions that revealed new information about her relationship with Ibrahim. Cell phone records were subpoenaed, showing that Jolie's phone had never left the Alexandria area, directly contradicting the Norfolk Party text. Search teams with cadaver dogs began methodically covering areas near Jolie's home, focusing on parks and wooded areas. Surveillance footage from businesses along possible routes was collected and analyzed. The investigation had finally gained the urgency and resources it deserved, but precious time had already been lost. On the frigid morning of January 26, 2018, exactly 2 weeks after Jolie vanished, a police officer conducting a routine patrol in Woodlawn Park noticed something unusual. The park, less than a mile from the Moussa family home, had been searched multiple times in the previous days. But winter had altered the landscape, with recent snowfall melting to reveal what had been hidden. The officer spotted what appeared to be human remains partially covered by leaves and brush in a wooded section of the park. The body had been deliberately concealed, placed in a small ravine, and covered with natural debris. It was clear this was not an accidental death, but a calculated attempt to hide evidence. Forensic teams quickly secured the area, establishing a perimeter that expanded to encompass nearly an acre of the park. As investigators carefully processed the scene, a grim picture emerged. The body was that of a young female, wearing clothing consistent with what Jolie had on when she disappeared. Most telling was a distinctive tattoo visible on the right shoulder, an infinity symbol intertwined with 2 names, Jolie and Janae. The discovery transformed a missing person case into something far more sinister, confirming the family's worst fears, while raising haunting questions about who would commit such a crime so close to Jolie's home. As forensic technicians worked the scene, detectives made the solemn drive to the Moussa home. No amount of professional training prepares officers for notifying a family that their child has been found deceased. Sirita collapsed upon hearing the news, while Cyril stood in stunned silence. Janae, who had maintained hope despite growing odds, screamed in anguish, a sound neighbors would later describe as pure heartbreak. The preliminary identification based on the tattoo and clothing was later confirmed through dental records. The medical examiner determined Jolie had been deceased since shortly after her disappearance, likely killed within hours of leaving home. The cause of death was not immediately released to the public, but investigators informed the family that evidence pointed to homicide by strangulation. In that moment of notification, the family's desperate 2-week search for a missing daughter transformed into an unimaginable grief, and a new determination to find whoever was responsible for taking Jolie's life. News of Jolie's death rippled through Alexandria, transforming a community mobilized for search into one united in mourning. The Facebook page once dedicated to finding her became a memorial, flooded with messages from classmates, teachers, and strangers touched by her story. Mount Vernon High School brought in grief counselors as students processed the loss of their peer. Many wore purple, Jolie's favorite color, in her honor. A candlelight vigil drew over 500 people to Woodlawn Park, reclaiming the space where she was found with light and love. Speakers included Jolie's choir director, who played a recording of her singing, her clear voice bringing many to tears. Local businesses donated food for the family, while a GoFundMe campaign quickly raised funds for funeral expenses. Perhaps most moving was the support for Janae, who now faced life without her twin. Classmates created a schedule to ensure she was never alone in the hallways, a protective circle of friendship surrounding her as she navigated a world suddenly emptier without her sister. With the discovery of Jolie's body, the case was officially reclassified as a homicide investigation. The full resources of the Fairfax County Major Crimes Division were deployed, working alongside FBI agents who had been involved since day 4. Investigators returned to previously interviewed witnesses with new, more pointed questions. Surveillance footage was re-examined with a narrower time frame, focusing on the hours immediately after Jolie left home. Nabiyu Ibrahim, already on investigators' radar due to his history with Jolie, became the primary person of interest. Detectives obtained warrants for his electronic devices and conducted extensive interviews with his friends and family. The investigation intensified as authorities worked to build a case that would bring Jolie's killer to justice. On August 31st, 2018, 7 months after Jolie's murder, police arrested 17-year-old Nabiyu Ibrahim. The timing was significant. He had just been released from juvenile detention for the previous assault on Jolie that had occurred before her death. Investigators had methodically built their case, gathering digital evidence, witness statements, and forensic findings that all pointed to Ibrahim. The arrest came after detectives traced the misleading text about Norfolk to Ibrahim, proving he had used Jolie's phone after her death in an attempt to misdirect the investigation. Cell tower data placed his phone in Woodlawn Park at the time Jolie disappeared. Most damning was DNA evidence recovered from beneath Jolie's fingernails, indicating she had fought for her life. When officers arrived at Ibrahim's home with the arrest warrant, he reportedly showed no emotion, a chilling contrast to the community's ongoing grief and the family's desperate search for answers. During interrogation, Ibrahim initially maintained his innocence, claiming he hadn't seen Jolie on the night she vanished. But as detectives presented the evidence against him, his story began to unravel. After hours of questioning, he finally confessed to luring Jolie to Woodlawn Park with a text message, using a friend's phone to avoid suspicion. According to his confession, Ibrahim had been seething with resentment over his expulsion from school and the protective order against him, both consequences of his abuse toward Jolie. "I blamed her for everything that was going wrong in my life," he told detectives. When Jolie arrived at the park that January night, he confronted her about breaking up with him. The argument escalated quickly. Ibrahim described attacking Jolie with what he called blind rage, using an MMA-style chokehold he had practiced in martial arts training. After she lost consciousness, he realized she could identify him if she survived. In a calculated decision that revealed the true horror of his actions, Ibrahim strangled her a second time to ensure she was dead. He then dragged her body deeper into the woods, covering it with leaves and brush before taking her phone to send the fake message about Norfolk, a deliberate attempt to buy himself time and throw investigators off his trail.
Chilling in its detail, and chilling because Nabiyu Ibrahim sounds entirely matter-of-fact about what he did to ex-girlfriend Jolie Moussa. This Ring video shows the 16-year-old Mount Vernon High School student stepping out the door on the last night of her life. When her body was found 2 weeks later, Ibrahim became the chief suspect because he already faced charges for a previous assault on Moussa. In a 5-hour-long police interview, Ibrahim calmly describes in great detail the night he ended Moussa's life after the two met up in a county park. He says he started choking her after he flew into a blind rage.
You know, you're in a hit passion, you're in a blind rage.
As detectives press for details, Ibrahim shows them how he applied what he called an MMA-style chokehold around Moussa's neck. He told them he knew he could stop the attack, but didn't.
I started choking her out more and more to the point where it was just like I just kept choking it to the point
Once Moussa lost consciousness and Ibrahim realized she was dead, he carried her body into the woods and covered it with leaves, never calling for help.
On June 12, 2019, Ibrahim appeared in Fairfax County Circuit Court. Though initially charged as a juvenile, prosecutors successfully petitioned to try him as an adult given the severity of the crime. The courtroom was packed with Jolie's family and supporters, wearing purple ribbons in her memory. In a move that spared the family a lengthy trial, Ibrahim pleaded guilty to first-degree murder. As part of the plea agreement, he provided a full account of the crime that matched the evidence collected by investigators. The judge asked Ibrahim if he understood the consequences of his plea, that he was admitting to deliberately taking Jolie's life. "Yes, Your Honor," he responded in a flat voice that observers described as emotionless. The prosecution presented their case for the record, detailing the premeditation involved in luring Jolie to the park and the calculated actions taken after her death to conceal the crime, factors that elevated the charge to first-degree murder. On September 27, 2019, the judge sentenced Ibrahim to 60 years in prison, with 15 years suspended, resulting in 45 years to serve. The sentence reflected both the heinousness of the crime and Ibrahim's age at the time it was committed. After sentencing, Syreeta Stewart-Hill addressed reporters outside the courthouse. Today doesn't bring Jolie back to us, but it does mean her killer can't hurt another young woman, she said, her voice steady despite her tears. We will honor Jolie's memory by fighting for other missing children and by speaking out against dating violence. This is not justice. Justice would be having my daughter here, but it is accountability, and that matters. In the years following Jolie's murder, her family has navigated grief while honoring her memory. For Janae, the loss of her twin created a void that she describes as learning to live with half of myself missing. On what would have been their 18th birthday in March 2019, Janae released purple balloons at Jolie's grave, a tradition she continues each year. She graduated from Mount Vernon High School with honors, wearing her sister's name alongside hers on her cap. Syreeta Stewart-Hill channeled her grief into advocacy, establishing the Jolie Moussa Foundation in 2020 to support families of missing children and victims of relationship violence. The foundation provides resources that Syreeta wishes had been available during her own desperate search. Cyril Moussa speaks at schools about protecting young people from abusive relationships. Through their ongoing work, Jolie's presence remains alive in the community, her story now serving as both warning and catalyst for change. Jolie's case highlights the often overlooked epidemic of teen dating violence. According to the Centers for Disease Control, 1 in 11 high school students experiences physical dating violence each year, with girls and young women disproportionately affected. What begins as controlling behavior, monitoring texts, isolating from friends, expressing excessive jealousy, can escalate to physical violence with devastating consequences. Schools across the country have used Jolie's story to develop prevention programs that teach students to recognize unhealthy relationship patterns. Mount Vernon High School implemented a curriculum called Love Shouldn't Hurt, directly inspired by their former students' experience. The program teaches that abuse isn't always physical. It often begins with emotional manipulation and control. Most importantly, these initiatives emphasize that no one should face abuse alone. Jolie's isolation from support systems, partly due to Ibrahim's deliberate efforts to separate her from friends and family, underscores the critical importance of maintaining connections that can provide perspective and safety when danger emerges. Recognizing the warning signs of an abusive relationship can save lives. Red flags include partners who isolate you from friends and family, demand access to your phone or social media, exhibit extreme jealousy, make threats, or use physical intimidation. Remember, love should feel safe, not frightening. If you recognize these patterns in your own relationship, reach out for help. Tell a trusted adult, call the National Dating Abuse Helpline, or contact local domestic violence resources. Document incidents of threatening behavior, save concerning messages, and trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. If you suspect a friend is in an abusive relationship, approach them with compassion rather than judgment. Phrases like, "I'm concerned about how he treats you," open conversation better than, "You need to leave him." Maintain the connection even if they're not ready to leave. Isolation only increases danger. Help them create a safety plan and know that leaving is the most dangerous time in abusive relationships, requiring careful planning and support. If this story impacted you, please like, comment, and share to raise awareness about teen dating violence. Subscribe for more true crime stories that educate and protect. In the description below, I've linked crisis resources, including the National Dating Abuse Helpline, 1-866-331-9474. Your support could save someone's life.